Hello, I'm Connie Arkvik, lead software engineer at SimDynamics, and in this video, I'm talking about the SimConfig. So I have a SimConfig open in Visual Studio Code. SimConfigs are JSON formatted text files that have the entirety of a simulation, the entirety of the simulation initial states are described by the SimConfig. So a simulation is whenever you open the SimConfig in Space Teams, whenever you run the simulation, it takes the SimConfig and turns all these values into entities, systems, and all that, and runs a simulation. And then from there, the entities and systems in the simulation continue on to have their parameter values change and update and stuff. So, but today I'll be mostly focusing on how the SimConfig looks when it's in its file form, when it's saved on your system. So starting at the top, we have this is all JSON formatted, so you can use any text editor that is able to parse JSON to edit it. Then the meta field at the top just has some details. It's not really, don't really need to know this. Include sims is which sims we should start from for the kind of background of the simulation. So the simulation will include the solar system, which is solar which includes all the planets, which are these ones here, planets and their moons, these ones that we already have templates for. And it also includes the solar system labels sim, which is, sorry, not solar system labels. This is the solar system inertial frames SimConfig, which at the moment only defines the Earth-centered inertial frame right now. Each of these SimConfigs includes systems, which are in here, the system section, and entities, which are here. So these systems are each defined with a bunch of properties in here, as well as the instance parameters. The name tag of each system can be used to apply it to certain entities, like this, where data monitor is applied to spectator one. And that's used to assign these systems so that they can access the entities that you assign them to. The way that we cross-reference between a system or between entities and other entities is through an entity ref. In a SimConfig, those entity refs are just look like this. They have these braces, the square brackets, and then entity ref, and the name of the entity that you're referencing. So this is a kind of common syntax for how parameters are made for this. We have the name of the parameter, the type of the parameter as the first arguments, like first elements of the square brackets area. This array, the JSON array of values, has the first element be a string, that is the type of the parameter, and then the second or subsequent elements in the array are the value of the parameter. Another case for this is double v2, so that's a two-dimensional vector with initial values of 0, 0. And the other stuff is we have a few different special cases for this. For convenience, we don't require you to have the type be put in there if you have just a string, like this one, username. There's only this string. That means it's parsed as a string. If you have a Boolean, that's parsed as a Boolean type. And if you have just a number, either integer or floating points, that's always parsed as double, no matter if you have the 0.0 on there or not. So timescale, that parameter is parsed as a double. Parameters also can have nested parameters. So that means you have an extra key in there, which, so this parameter right here is the use current time parameter. That's can be explained in other videos for how to get that parameter. each of these curly braces marks a new parameter map, which is how the nested parameter maps happen. So in here, we have a gadgets list, which has 0, 1, 2, 3 parameter maps. Each of those parameter maps has different parameters, and those are, in this case, used to spawn a set of widgets that we want inside of this spectator pawn. So whenever you go into the sim and you choose a spectator, you will see this list of widgets in your widget in your toolbar at the top. The list of entities is just this top level array here. And if I collapse this first entity, you can see each of these. It's a little bit intuitive at the moment. We might update this at some point to change it so that they have a syntax of entity name, colon, and then the rest of the entity properties. But each of the entity names is in the required section of the entity properties here. When we have a entity that is of a certain type, it usually has a corresponding section of the config which has those type specific parameters. So whenever there's a from template type entity, that means we have a source path and param overrides. It's different for different things. So for example, BP means it's an Unreal blueprint. That's how it's loaded into the sim. And that just takes BP path. We'll make another video on the specific required parameters for each entity type. So in the simulation, we have a starting point of the solar system and the solar system labels. And the systems that we add in on top of those are Data Monitor, Spicy, and Param Regular. The entities that we add on top of those are the Spectator, the Earth Clouds, and Moon IIC habitat and Mars IIC habitat. This was a curiosity marker. And we have there's a little bit of nuance to how systems get in here as well. If they are marked singleton, that means that the system, the SimConfig parser will try to merge a previous definition of that system like this with that other definition of it here. This is important for not thread safe systems like Spicy, because if you have more than one instance of those, it will start to have errors happen. I'll stop this there. That's a good summary of the SimConfig.